Hey, it's Chris and Brian here. Today we want to talk about this whole CrowdStrike incident left millions of computers affected all over the world. And luckily, we don't use the product, but we are seeing things all over the internet about IT people working very long hours. And the cleanup process is just very extensive and it's still going on today. Today is the July 26th, and it just keeps on going because there's a lot to unravel there. But one of the things I want to talk about was the cyber insurance aspect of it. Clients out there, almost every business nowadays has some form of cyber insurance. And if you don't have cyber insurance, you need to make sure you get it because it doesn't matter what size your organization is, you're bound to have some sort of breach or cyber incident at some point of your business. I just want to point out an article where they talk about, Chris, maybe you could pull up the article where it talks
Yep.
about insurance outage could reach $1.5 billion dollars. This Yahoo article that I saw today. So here's what I think is going to happen with cyber insurance. They're already tightening things up. There's a lot of boxes to check. Make sure that you're really checking through your policies with a fine-tooth comb. You may even want to get your legal involved. Of course, your IT people are going to be involved, but this is a business. It's a big business thing. It's not necessarily a technical thing. It's making sure all your bases are covered, because what's going to happen is cyber insurance companies are going to ratchet down even further so that they don't have to pay a lot of claims, things that happen with CrowdStrike. I can envision them saying, hey, look, if a third-party piece of software like CrowdStrike or Microsoft, whatever the vendor is, makes a mistake, we can't be accountable for that mistake. We're only covering breaches and other things. We're not covering mistakes made by humans in the software development process or whatever. I just can envision them trying to do that because they're losing a lot of money. Companies like Berkshire Hathaway, I heard one of the executives from that company, everybody knows Warren, you hear about Warren Buffett. He's one of the most famous investors. They do a lot of insurance. They own insurance business. They won't touch cyber insurance because they don't know the limits to how far a claim could go. And this is the perfect example with CrowdStrike. It's just a ton of money being paid out. And a lot of insurance companies are going to take a bath on this one if they've got to pay out. Chris, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah,
You know,
no,
looking at
it's not like a car insurance claim where two people pointing the finger at each other. This would be more along the lines like you all have Teslas and they pushed out buggy code and they all crashed into each other. Who's paying for what? That's what happened with this whole. But so they're saying that Fortune 500 companies, 1 billion, and then they're excluding Microsoft though, because their software, their operating system was the one affected by the bug, causing those blue screens of death. I do know with this cyber insurance, we have had talks with clients. Some of them are smaller businesses, and they're like, why do I need multi-factor on my local sign-in for my computer? That's even bigger reason for some of those smaller businesses to go towards Microsoft 365, Business Premium or something, and Azure AD join it. MFA is enforced by default. They're enforcing it quite heavily over there. So you'd have an authenticator app, an approve, deny, punch in a code to get into your computer. Like cyber, I think they want like you just signing into your computer, they want MFA, not just these online accounts. So whether that's Duo, whether that's a UB key.
Yeah.
So
So I
MFA is a
guess,
big.
not to cut you off, Chris, but I guess what you're saying is we don't want to get into the technical conversation, but what you're saying is get used to the extra security
Yeah.
because that's the only way these insurance companies are going to pay for this type of loss. Is they need to, on the front end, they need to protect themselves a little bit more. And the way they do it is with these things like Chris is talking about with multi-factor and extra hurdles that you have to jump through. Sorry for the inconvenience, but if you want your insurance company to pay out, that's what you need to do. The more security put in, the more likely you're going to be covered, right?
Yeah, no. I also think this ties in with PCI compliance there, where I think we've talked about this on a previous video we did, where they used an SSL VPN to connect remotely. It was a self-signed certificate we generated for them. They wanted a legitimate cert from a trusted authority verifying. So that's another thing they might want. We don't want this connection that's not. They're going to want you to cross your T's and dot your I's essentially when it comes to
Right.
security.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's going to be more scanning and things like that,
Yeah.
scanning for different vulnerabilities and stuff like that from the insurance companies, most maybe from their cyber people, to just make sure that their CYA for themselves. All
Yeah.
right, we'll end it there, Chris. Have a good one.
All right, bye.
Take care.